Scale Auto Garage, and today we are going to, I am a little bit behind in my build only because I was not feeling so great over the weekend and ended up not really doing too much. Plus, I happen to have a visitor here at the station that took up my whole Sunday. So today, Monday, we're going to look at doing some masking for our final efforts on the Datsun 200ZX, the Nissan Silvia, the S12, and we've got the body here. It's actually like all polished and painted and ready to go. So what we'll do is we'll mask everything off and then get ready to do the semi-gloss black. We need to do the window trims, we need to do the body trim, and there's just a couple of small places around on the bumpers that require some semi-gloss paint. And yeah, we'll go from there. So thank you for joining me today. Feel free to use the comment section below if you have any questions. I will end up leaving this on the channel for about a day, maybe 24 hours. We'll see. But I'd like to sort of make these live streams a like something I do regularly, but not something that I leave up on the channel. So if you want to join me for building, then I more than appreciate you being here and watching, having questions, anything along those lines, while I am completing this build before doing my final edit and posting a final video. So a couple of things we're going to do first. Allow me to don the glasses because, you know, old eyes. So what we have are some tail lights, and these tail lights I haven't even started yet. They are going to be a complicated complicated paint scheme because these ones are I don't know if you can see this here. Let's take a look. Will it even focus? They're different squares. So the upper squares are red, the lower squares are orange, and then they are outlined quite extensively with black, and I guess it's like a black trim or something along those lines. So I liked these taillights better than these taillights. These taillights here just had like a red and an orange, and I thought that was kind of boring. And of course, because it's more exciting, it also means more work for us for masking. So because we're doing the black trim on the car, we might as well do the black trim on the taillights at the same time. And so what we need to do is we need to cut out those squares. And the way Aoshima has done these is the markings are actually on the outside. So we can put a piece of tape over top, mark out the squares, cut them out, give it a layer of semi-gloss black, and then on the inside we can paint our red and our orange, and it should give us some it should give us a really good look of lenses. So why don't we go ahead and start with I've done a couple of this one already. So what we've done is put the tape on, and then I use these are my paint sticks, and they're just like clips on the end of skewers, and the skewer has a nice pointed end. I find these actually work a little bit better than toothpicks because they're a little stronger, but not they don't always go through the tape when you're burnishing. So these are pretty good for getting right in there. So I've already cut these 4 lenses, and these ones are pretty easy, but these 2 on the end, they actually go around they go around to the side of the lens, so they're a little bit more complicated in how they're cut, and we want to make sure that the masking actually stays on the lens so that we don't get any bleed through when we do our painting. So let's see here. It's very yeah, it's very small work here. So thank you for joining us, and I appreciate everybody who joins us today. And if you have any questions or just want to introduce yourself or say hi, or let me know what's going on in your life, what you're building, just feel free to use the comment section, and let's have a chat. I mean, that's what live streams are all about, right? Interacting with your favorite builders. Okay, I think I'm gonna give this one a go. I'm a little bit nervous because if I mess up on these two, then I'm gonna have to do the whole thing over again, and this is very delicate work. So when I'm doing these things, I do tend to use a brand new blade. A new blade goes through the tape really easily. Okay, around the end. Come on, don't mess up. Yeah, I think that's okay. Around the end. Yeah, I think that one's okay too. Whew. Is your heart beating like mine? Oh my god. Okay. Oh, shit. I mean, I shouldn't swear. That's bad. But I think that's okay. I think we'll be all right. We might be able to salvage that. And last cut. Okay. You find when you're building, you get like so concentrated that it's almost painful. Maybe I should put on the better magnifying glasses. Really want to make sure these cuts are nice and straight and doesn't ruin the glass. Okay, I think we got all those cut. Let's see if these come off okay. So what we'll do is we'll peel back the tape, and hopefully the squares will be left on there, and then we can semi-gloss over top of all that. Looking good. Looks pretty good. Oh, look at that. Yeah, I think, oh, maybe that corner needs to be a little better. You don't want to pull up the square because trying to align it again in the lines would be so tough. We want nice square edges. All right. Come on. Are you holding your breath? Because I'm holding my breath. Oh, look at that. I think we're good. I think we're good. Oh, I think we gotta. Yeah. All right. So check that out. We got all 6 squares. Looks like everything came out pretty good. Some of the corners are a little bit messy, but we'll just rub everything down a little bit. So this should be good when we give it a nice, we'll give it a really light coat of black first so that sort of seals the edges, doesn't bleed, and then we can go over a little bit darker with a second layer just to give it the appropriate look. Nice. That worked out pretty good. What do you think? I don't know. Does that even focus? That doesn't really focus well, does it? Anyway, all good. Pretty happy with that. That always makes me think of the building on a budget channel. I don't know if you've watched that channel. I like Thomas's work. He's pretty great, but I love how he's always going, pretty happy with that. So whenever I say it, it makes me think of his channel. I mean, it's good, right? You want to be happy with how things turn out. Right now I'm just being super nitpicky and like straightening some of the edges and stuff like that. Probably way more than I need to do on such a tiny part. Nobody's ever going to see it. It will never hit a model show or anything like that. So I'm just being a perfectionist. How about you guys? You find you're perfectionists with your builds? You want every little detail perfect, or are you sloppy? Are you... Doesn't matter as long as it looks good on the shelf. All right, so that's great. Let's do the other side. We'll get through that quickly. Got our bit of tape. Put it over the lens. You want to make sure as it goes around the curve, because it is sort of a little bit curved, you want to make sure it's nice and tight so it doesn't raise up in the corners. Nice. Mark out our squares. I'm not sure how Aoshima gets these lines in. They're like some kind of, they're etched in somehow. I don't know if it's part of the molding process or if it's something they do afterwards. They have some sort of etching tool that puts the squares in, but they're not very deep, so they're pretty hard to see. But I guess that's what you get for choosing the more difficult, more visually interesting taillight lenses, right? So I never even realized that this car, I bought this kit from Japan. It is an Aoshima kit. It's a Nissan Silvia Gazelle. I think it's 84, I think it said on the box. And I didn't realize that this was sold in North America as a Datsun 200ZX. So in the 80s, I was more of a Honda guy. I had a Civic or CRX in the 90s. But yeah, I don't know. Do you guys, any of you have a 200ZX? It's supposed to be a turbo. Should be a pretty good car. Should be fun. Okay, so let's cut out those squares again. Be really careful in the corners. You want to make sure the lines meet. The nice thing about having all these lights is that you can really see what you're doing. Trying to work in a darkened room would be terrible, but these lights are hella bright. Okay, looking good. That's one down. So, are you guys working on anything at the moment? Anyone building anything exciting, interesting? What you working on? Let me know. I mean, I'm just kind of assuming you all build models. You don't have to be builders. Maybe you just like watching. Maybe you like watching those like restoration channels, the rebuilding of the diecast kits. Maybe you just like watching building channels. I watch a lot of building channels. I find in my spare time, I tend to watch a lot of what the builders are building. I subscribe to a bunch of those restoration channels too. I find that satisfying. It's always nice to watch other people's techniques and how they go about doing things. Maybe you can find a better way to do stuff than you're already doing. It's 3 down. Let's see. Ooh, I don't think I like that line. Huh. The ones on this lens are really hard to see. I think that didn't quite go where I wanted it to. Okay, now we'll do the curved, the last two. I got to be honest, these are probably some of the most difficult taillight lenses that I've ever done. Having to cut them like this is, I don't know, it's not very easy. Even on that, the Nissan 300, which has those long oval lenses, the way to me I did that lens actually made it pretty easy to mask them. What's up with Nissan and your difficult taillight lenses? Have you seen the taillight lenses on that new the new Nissan Z? Oh my god, that's insane. It's like what, 6 pieces? All right, I think that's good. Let's try that out. Hey, Brandon, how's it going? Yeah, Zoomon has awesome awesome masking kits. Actually, Zoomon has a lot of stuff. I could spend a lot of money at Zoomon. No problem. I have a couple of kits of theirs. Their Integra DC3 and the FN, I don't know what number it is. Maybe the FN2 that I want to build sometime soon. I don't do a lot of resin, but I would like to. Okay, come on. Depending on the type of kits you build, like, you know, I build a lot of stuff from the 80s, and you don't really need a lot of masking for window trim because of the way that the kits are done. The trim is always on the body and not on the window, not like modern windows with the black on the inside. Editing. That's editing is fun. I just uploaded a video for my other channel. I was spending the day doing outside work, and I thought I would film it and edit it. It took me a couple of days. Oh, that sucks. Came off the... I wanted to be able to put the clip in the middle and paint them both at once, but I'll put it on a popsicle stick instead. Come on. That last one is being difficult. Oh, it really made a mess. Come on. Come on, bro. What's up with you? All right. Okay. Well, it's not too bad. Some of these edges aren't great, but I think we can make do. I think that doing these with an airbrush is going to give me a nice even look on the black instead of trying to do it with a... If you do the black on the inside, you can use like a Sharpie or a marker or something, and it ends up looking pretty good. But because the trim on this light is on the outside, it's probably better to do it with an airbrush and give it a nice even look. I don't think a marker is going to look very good. And again, yes, I'm just being a perfectionist because, you know, why not? Okay, there we go. What do you think? Looking pretty good. So we'll end up mounting these on popsicle sticks. We'll cover the inside so that we get no overspray. We'll mount them on a popsicle stick and then go from there. Just sand down that burr a little bit. I probably should have filmed all this because it's kind of an interesting one, but that's okay. Next time. Next time. I always say that. Next time. All right. Just clean that up a little bit. Good, good. Awesome. Wow, 20 years of editing. That's awesome. What are you editing, if you don't mind my asking? What do you work on normally? YouTube editor, TV editor, movie editor? Okay, so body. This will require a little bit of finesse to do the side molding. So let's see here. Can you see that? See what I'm doing? cool. I bet you have some pretty interesting stories, Brandon. Interesting stuff that you worked on. When I always found it really interesting when I used to work in like manufacturing, and so we would work on products obviously for years before coming to the public eye, and it was always really interesting being kind of on that other side of things, being able to see and know stuff before it comes to public. So it's interesting. So when I'm taping, I do tend to like using this the Tamiya tape. I use these two predominantly, the 10 and the 6, and I find that they're great. And then other areas that I don't need to be very intricate, then I can just use regular like masking tape, and that's not a big deal. Wow, Warner, man, that's awesome. I would that's pretty cool, Brandon. I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty cool. Anything anything we would know that you might have worked on that you know you can. I mean, in the past, nothing recent, but anything interesting that I'd be like, oh wow, that's cool. You'll find editing and watching live like distracting. I don't know. When I'm editing, my computer's pretty slow, so I get a lot of whenever I move a 4K video into my timeline because I do all my production in 1080. Whenever I do use a 4K, it takes forever to make a proxy and blah blah blah, all that nonsense. I mean, you know what I'm talking about because you're an editor, but if you're not an editor, then yeah. So what I'm doing here is I'll use the 10 mil tape around the window moldings and put a piece of tape on, and then carefully cut out along the window molding. And then that is what we will end up painting black using the airbrush. So before I painted, I scribed these out pretty good. So it is very defined underneath the tape, which is nice. Makes it really easy to cut everything out. We can then pull off this piece nicely. There you go. That's great. And then we can use the wood again. Just make sure that's nice and sealed. No bleed through. Awesome. Now, because the tape does go partly over the window ones as well, we'll give that a quick. Now for me, when I'm doing masking, again, I need to think about, because I do all this for YouTube, I need to think about how this may end up on camera. So because for me, I always really enjoy the unmasking, I need to think about how the masking goes on to make the unmasking interesting, which means using long lines where you get really good peels, or being able to peel off sections all in one piece, that kind of thing. I find that's pretty important. So while you're masking, you need to think more about how the future is going to be. If you're just doing this at home and not trying to film everything, then you don't really need to think about that kind of stuff. But yeah, there's a lot more that goes into building for YouTube than just building. Some of the guys that do the really long form videos and whatnot. Oh man, I watch them and I think like what goes into them is absolutely like phenomenal. Real Housewives. Oh, that's cool. Oh man, that I would love to do that. Yeah, that Lamborghini is looks like an amazing kit. I don't own it, but I would. It's one of those that I would really like to. I would like to build. I actually don't have a big stash. I mean, I know guys, they're going on like, 1,000 kits in their stash, whatever. I think mine is less than 50. So um, I've only been building cars for, I don't know, maybe 4 years now. Before that, I was building Gundam. I built cars when I was young, when I was a kid, but I was doing a lot more Gundam, a lot more mech type stuff. It's a very different way of building. Very, very different way of building. Bandai makes building Gundam so easy to make them look good with so little effort. Bandai's pretty amazing with their production process and everything. I always, because I was in manufacturing for so many years, I always look at things and how they were actually manufactured. So it's a little bit different. I know a lot of times people complain about, little things, this or that or what have you, not really knowing that the reason things get done is just due to manufacturing a lot of times. So what I've done here is I did this top piece first and then this section here. So if I do end up peeling, say from this corner when I'm pulling off, I can peel from this corner and down. I'd be able to peel like that and it would give a very interesting reveal. And then along this bottom, I'll be able to put a nice long stripe of tape along the bottom, and then I can give it a peel this way, and it will give a nice reveal along that bottom edge. So just kind of giving you a little bit of insight into my process. It is, I do end up thinking about these things, and also when you're doing the trim, usually you end up doing the liner and everything at the same time because most of the time liners end up being black anyway. So if you're doing a semi-gloss along the trim, you can do a semi-gloss on the inside, and at least then you don't have the very contrasting white of the inside of the kit. I want to thank you guys for joining me today while I build. It's kind of a Monday morning. I know it's not a regular time for streaming, but I'm still sort of learning this whole streaming thing and working out what's the best way to go about doing it, best times, best equipment. I have all kinds of filming equipment, both for this channel, for my other channel. Always thinking about how stuff gets filmed. So how do you guys like building? Do you like building? Do you talk to yourself like I'm doing right now? Sorry, I'm not talking to myself. I'm talking to you guys. But do you watch movies? Do you listen to music? Is there anything? What's your habits for building? lots of times I will I'll have like Netflix on, or maybe a movie. Netflix is pretty good because you can use I can use my phone and then just have the Netflix on between takes. But that does tend to use up battery power, as does all this filming. So what we'll do here is, even though this hood is not going to be an opening hood, we will end up gluing it down. We will paint all this little bit of inner bit. And the nice thing about having the hood is that if you paint this edge, it will actually give you a nice dark line. So that should be pretty good. All right, that's looking good. $80 kits is a decent stash. Do you find it difficult to choose your next build? I build one at a time. I found that if I try and start too many things, then I get nothing done. So I start a build and I commit to it, and then I finish it. So if I don't finish the build, then nothing gets done. I get no I get no videos, I get no YouTube, I get no nothing. So I have to finish a build if I'm gonna start it. But do you find it really hard to choose when you're finished? I find when I'm at about this point where I'm really close to finishing, I start thinking about what I'm gonna build next. And even at less than 50 kits, I find it hard to choose. And yeah. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. See what comes out. And yeah, I'm having a little bit of difficulty choosing my next one. It's there's a lot that goes. I apologize. I know I'm going in and out in. See if I can maybe get less of the light in there. That might make a difference. There's a lot for me. There's a lot that has to go into choice because, I mean, if you look at a lot of the stuff on my channel, you kind of see what stuff I like to build. I like to build weird. I like to build more like 80s, 90s, 2000 era. I'm not really big into like supercars or Ferraris, Lamborghinis. I don't have a lot of that kind of stuff, but I still need to sort of consider what will work for YouTube, because if you're building for YouTube, you need to think about what works in the YouTube algorithm, what people want to see, whatnot. Stuff like Initial D does well. And you really got to think about your audience. So your audience primarily like import, domestic, that kind of stuff. It's pretty cool that you do Zoom calls, Brandon, with other builders. That's awesome. Having that community is nice. It's nice having a community of builders. So we're doing the side windows now. And again, because I really scribe the lines quite well before I paint, it means that these are fairly deep and actually quite easy to get cut out. And then using the wood to kind of push everything down. It gives us a nice even line. And of course, having deep panel lines like this also helps, because after you paint all the molding using your semi-gloss black, you then use your panel line wash afterwards, and it gives you a really nice, crisp, clear line. Really big difference. And when you're using colors like white and black, having a very distinctive line helps to really differentiate between the two colors. When you're using dark colors, it's not as, you can kind of get away with a bit more of a wavy line, but when the contrast is so big between the colors, you really want to make sure your lines are nice and crisp. Again, I want to thank everybody for joining the live feed today. This is something new. I'm just kind of trying out, seeing how it all plays out. Maybe you want to ask me some questions, sort of get an idea of my builds. My channel generally isn't, like, I don't do a lot of tutorials. I don't do a lot of really long content showing in depth of what I'm doing. It's more like an entertainment kind of thing, like a show. So I figure maybe these live streams might give people an opportunity to see more into the progress, into how it's done, how I do it. Of course, my way isn't the only way. People have their own way of doing things. For example, there's people who use the wider tape. They'll put a single piece and then mark it out. And I find that for me, being able to use the 10 mil allows me to have more control over my crisp lines. But everybody has their own way of doing things, of course. Ooh, I don't think I like that. Huh. The corner didn't turn out as nice as I would like. That's okay. That's okay. You can fix that. Again, the perfectionist in me always thinking I can do better. Yeah, so I am, Brandon, to answer your question, I am on an island, and no, there are no shops near me. I have a fairly interesting job. It is my other lighthouse, my other channel, which is called BC Lighthouse Keeper. I am a lighthouse keeper, and I live on an island at a lighthouse in the middle of nowhere with nothing around me. My closest neighbor is well over 5 miles away by boat. The island that I live on has nothing. And if you're really interested to know more, you're more than welcome to check out my other channel, BC Lighthouse Keeper. And if you want to know exactly where I am, because I work in the public sector, I am a public figure, and my name is posted on the Wikipedia for this station. If you take a look at Boat Bluff Lighthouse, then you can see where I'm at, which is the middle of nowhere. Yeah, it's interesting because the concept of lighthouses is, I guess if you look at my station is more of a light station than an actual lighthouse, because there's no tower. We don't have a tower here, and our light here doesn't rotate like a lot of like most lighthouses do, because of where the station is located, and we're right on a very narrow channel, and the light that we have here is actually called a sector light instead of a regular light station light. So yeah, it is a little bit different, but it's the lifestyle is the same. I live here all year, and it's a pretty interesting lifestyle. It's a pretty interesting way of doing things. It gives me lots of time to build model cars, which is, you know, what I like doing. So now I'm just using a regular roll of painter's tape to cover up the larger areas. Better to just waste cheap tape than using more expensive Tamiya tape. And depending on how all this turns out, usually it's pretty easy to just take a corner and then you can like peel all of it off in one go, and it looks pretty good on camera. So that should be pretty good. Yeah, so the way it works for me is I get like my groceries and mail and everything once a month. And so obviously the only way for me to purchase is online. And so I have a couple of online online shops that I go to regularly, and I buy pretty much all my supplies and kits and everything from them. I do 2 or 3 major purchases from Japan a year, and you know, I'll spend $300, $400, $500 in one go, and I'll get, you know, a big box of kits. It's easier that way, and then I'll have all my resources for building over the next year. I try and get done. It'd be nice if I could get done a kit a week, but it's more like every 2 weeks I can get something done. So if I was overlapping, if I was building one kit, I get about halfway, start another kit. I did that for a little while, but I found it was a little overwhelming in how much work you're actually doing. So I stopped doing that. Now it's just one at a time. But yeah, getting supplies and stuff isn't too bad. Depending on how much I'm building, I can spend, I don't know, maybe $100 a month, $100 to $150 a month in supplies, and just have it all sent out at once. Just sucks when the store that I'm using runs out of whatever I need. Thanks for subscribing to my other channel. I appreciate that. I'm kind of not as active on that channel as this one, but I'd like to get back into doing more videos for that channel. It's definitely an interesting lifestyle. People have a lot of questions. Yeah, there's two dogs here. Um, they're both huskies. I do have an Instagram account for them. You can go to uh, lighthouse underscore husky on Instagram. And I post pictures of the dogs. Yeah, they're both characters. It's nice having a little bit of companionship, of course. So this is going to offer a little bit of a challenge because the window trim ends up going underneath the spoiler. And I really wanted the spoiler on the kit when I did the painting. So it will offer a little bit of a challenge trying to get underneath, but I don't think I'm gonna spray paint all of that. I think I'm gonna have to end up doing some of that either by brush or with a marker. So we'll see. Might be able to do some of this with the tape. Masking is like the tedious part of building, I think. Yeah, Antonio. My other channel is called BC Lighthouse Keeper, and you can check that out. No problem. Yeah, masking. I think it really depends on the type of masking you're doing. I don't mind masking bodies. The molding is going to be really hard to mask in here, like in the bumper area, because it's really hard to see, but there's a black molding that goes just between the bumper and the rear taillight assembly. So that's going to be super hard to mask, as well as right in the front between the bumper and the front grille. There's a very thin molding line, and it's ridiculous. I don't know if you can see it, but there's like the molding line and still body color. So I have to do the molding line and body color. You don't want to do the body color black. So yeah, that part is gonna really suck for masking. The only terrible thing about having the dogs and building models is there's dog hair like everywhere. Having dogs like huskies, which have like a really thick undercoat, man, you get hair everywhere. It's absolutely ridiculous. So we'll get this on the opposite side. Yeah, this is coming along nicely. As I've said before, having nice deep panel lines really makes a difference when you're doing this kind of masking. It makes things actually really easy. So, well, at least a lot easier. If you don't, I think what is it they say? It's like 90% of paint work is preparation. So the more you do right in the very beginning when you're in bare plastic, the better everything sort of comes together. I find with a really great surface, it makes the painting a lot easier. Ooh. You know what? I think I don't like that one. And again, the perfectionist in me is unhappy with that. So, start again. Yeah, dog hair. Terrible. The kit that I'm building right now is the Aoshima. It should be in the thumbnail. It's the Aoshima Silvia Gazelle 84 S12. In North America, it's kind of known as the Datsun 200ZX, which I had no idea until I started doing research on the car. But yeah, 200ZX. I just thought when I saw it, I use the Hobby Search Japan usually when I'm buying my kits from Japan, but I saw it on the site and I was like, oh my God, that car looks crazy. It looks really cool. So I had to get it. And then when I got it, it had all these really crazy, like the ground effects all over it. I thought, wow, that's really cool. So yeah, I'm pretty glad I picked up this kit. It's definitely an older kit. It was actually done originally by Aoshima in the 80s, and it was a motorized kit. But at that time, the first like 2 or 3 releases of it actually had an engine, which is why, like it had an engine build, which is why the hood is removable. The kit actually a comes with a clear hood, so you get a styrene hood and a clear hood. The clear hood obviously is useless now with no engine, but if with 3D printing, I'm sure somebody out there has an interesting engine you could put into it. 3D printing has really changed the whole landscape of building so extensively. Just the things that you can get now are amazing. Okay, I think that's better. Yeah, Redmond, thanks. It's definitely it's an old kit, so there are certain things like the chassis is pretty weak. You can't be like, oh, I want a really great suspension or anything like that. There's no suspension. Now you can build it with different ride heights, which is cool. I'm down with that. I like that. And you can do different it comes with a couple of different sets of wheels, which is fun. So I like that. Yeah, that's much better. Sometimes it just makes sense to start over instead of like just accepting that it didn't go well. Yeah, happy with that. Oh, this is gonna look so good once the black is on here. I'm really excited about it. So we're just gonna put a little piece of tape on the inside here. I'm not gonna try and mark it out underneath. I'm gonna end up doing that with a brush, I think. But this way, yeah, good. Yeah, some of the guys who I'm still like, I don't mind brush painting stuff. I know there are guys out there who are like, no brush painting, you have to mask everything. But yeah, I don't mind a little bit of brush painting here and there. I think I can do that. Can I get in there? Oof. You don't wanna like get your hand all messed up and make like a big mistake or something. So angle of your fingers makes all the difference, doesn't it? Okay. Come on, bro. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it. Oh, I think that'll work. I'm putting way, like seriously, way too much into this masking. Being way too crazy. Oh, look at that. How awesome am I? I think I can do it all the way around. Come on, come on, come on, come on. You know what? Sometimes I impress myself. Is that arrogant? I'm not trying to be arrogant. But look at that. That came out really nice. Look at that. I was able to do inside the spoiler. Can you see that? Probably not. This camera sucks. I'm pretty happy with that. That's awesome. That's awesome. So I want to thank everybody for joining today. I really appreciate you guys joining me while I'm doing some building, doing some masking. Okay, we'll leave that back end for a bit. Let's do this nice. We'll do a nice easy one. So we'll get a nice long piece of tape. So there is some interesting way the rear window molding is done. I'm not going to say that it's like super complicated, but it does have several different layers. So if you're not careful, you really make a mess in there. You get like paint runs or bleeding or all kinds of stuff. So we're going to be really careful how the tape gets laid down in that corner because we want a nice, yeah, we want that looking good. I really like this era because the molding on the cars is still on the body of the car and not, here, I'll move over a little bit here. The molding is still on the car and not on the windows. So I don't have to do the try and painting on the glass, which, you know, can end up as a disaster. But this era, the molding is all black, so it means I don't have to deal with like bare metal chrome or anything like that as well. So yeah, I really like working on this era of car. Not only do I really like 80s body styles, but I really like how things play out. So yeah, for anyone who's joined us recently, you know, you guys working on anything? Anything, Brendan? You were saying Lamborghini? Hell yeah! I have I have a Lamborghini Bravo that I'm thinking I kind of want to build soon. I don't necessarily know if I want to do it next, but I want to definitely do it soon. Problem, of course, is like nobody knows what the hell a Lamborghini Bravo is. So it's one of those like more obscure concept cars from the 70s. But yeah, I'm thinking about doing that one. I did the Ferrari Rainbow a little while ago, another interesting concept car, and nobody cared. It made me very sad. But yeah, I would like to do that Bravo. Oh, look at how good that looks. That's awesome. I'm excited about that. Getting there, getting there, getting there. quickly get the other side done. Yeah, like I say, these side pieces are pretty easy. Come on. So, anybody watching anything interesting? Like, I got hooked on Grey's Anatomy recently. I'm on like, what is it, like season 12? I can't believe this show has been going on for like 20 years. My goodness. A show that's been on for 20 years and I'm just watching it. How crazy is that? Although I was excited because Netflix put in a new season of Perfect Match. Hell yeah. That was, I don't know about you guys, but watching other guys being so cringy just kind of makes me laugh. But if you do have any questions or comments or want to know what I'm doing, what I'm working on, what anything, feel free to use the comment section below and I will answer. Just tell me what your day is like, whatever. It's all good. We're just chilling, building. Okay, that's awesome. Pretty happy with that. Okay, so I know what you guys are here for. You guys want to see the hard stuff, right? Like, I mean, that's what it's all about. How many of you are like thinking, I want to watch that and I want to watch him fail? Nobody wants to watch me fail, right? Of course not. So I think what we'll do is we'll try and do this front piece now and see how that plays out. Because, like I say, it's going to be difficult. I'm thinking it's going to take two pieces. It's going to take one piece going across this way and one piece sort of on the bumper. And yeah, the piece going across the front is going to be pretty easy, but the piece on the bumper is what worries me. I think that's, maybe it'll take several smaller pieces. I don't know. We'll give that a shot and see how it goes. So let's do the easy one first. Let's do across the front. So yeah, let's see. Nice and easy. Easy peasy. Everyone likes easy, right? Okay. Oh, hold on. Don't talk too soon. Okay. Huh. Doesn't like that at all. Oh, I thought this was going to be easy. As soon as I try and push it down, it lifts up. Okay. This time's gold. This time is gold. All right. Yeah, that worked much better. Okay. Okay, now the cut. Definitely having a very sharp knife for this makes it way easier. And so, like all the other parts of the car, I actually spent a lot of time in plastic going over these with the scriber. So these lines are really nicely pronounced and nicely cleaned up. It makes it way easier to cut out the tape. So think ahead, right? Don't leave everything to chance. Look at that. Nice. Yeah, well, like I said, that was the easy part. So all good, all good. Okay, so luckily this isn't like a super curved bumper or anything. I think we'll be okay with this. So what I'll do, put the tape on so it overlaps a little bit. That's enough. Doesn't like that at all. Not surprised. I wonder if we should do this in multiple runs. I think maybe. Yeah, I think maybe it's a bit much to try and do all that in one go. So let's cut this. Is that right? So it's not that it's bad, but it's just not good. So I don't want, as I said, because it's black on white, I really don't want these lines to be messy. So I think what we'll do is we'll try and do this in two pieces. So this piece is looking good, this side. Come on. Come on. You can do it. There we go. Nice. Okay. So we will, let's see, cut some of that. See what a crazy thin line that is? It's like barely a line. It's like just right there. Just a tiny little bit. Tiny little body mold line. Yeah. Terrible. But it's okay. We're dealing with it. Dealing with it appropriately. So now we'll just do the other side. Same fashion. Right, I think that's pretty good. If I can get the tape off, my goodness. Come on, come on. Nice. Okay. Okay, yeah, that turned out pretty good. So that's the whole front done. Now the difficult part is we need to do this corner, and the corner is going to take a couple of smaller pieces before we can get to the side. So we can use the smaller tape, just a couple of small pieces. Okay. The nice thing about the Tamiya tape is that it's pretty flexible. I think that really helps in getting it laid down really nicely. Okay. So the way this molding wraps around the bumper, I found, is kind of weird. Like, it's not super consistent. So I had to really scribe out a lot to get it to work quite right. Okay, good. So I think from here we can finish the bumper and the front fender together. Let's try this. Oh, I think it's good. I think it's good. I think I just need a little bit of cleanup on the end, but I think that's pretty good. So the molding goes all the way down the side, down the front, and I think we're good. So I think we're over an hour now. Yeah, we're at an hour and about 20 minutes. I'm going to leave it at there today. And like I say, I really appreciate you guys joining me on my live stream today. It's fun. It's good. And the black on this one is going to take a couple of different layers because there's some black that needs to go on the bumpers and a few other spots, as well as this molding. So we'll have to do this a couple of times, and we'll have to remask again later once we get the molding done. So I'm going to leave it at there today. I appreciate you guys joining me for live feed today. It was nice to have you along for the ride, and we'll see if I can get another live stream going soon. Maybe we can live stream again tomorrow. We can actually paint some of that black tomorrow morning. We'll see how it goes. But thanks so much for joining, and Join me next time. Take care.